I don't have to do a report.
Can you
That's
teach
the
him
best
how to
part.
bring the gavel home?
That's the best part.
So loud. I did it on purpose, I'm sorry. He's like gonna try and make me not do it so
No, I
loud.
was going to beg it nicely for you.
Okay. I'd like to welcome you to the May 20th, 2025 meeting of the Logan Municipal Council. Our opening ceremony this evening will be given by Mike Desmoni, our Community Development Director.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm going to sing a song and say
Okay.
a prayer, a poem.
Okay.
No, actually, just want to, I put this all in your spot, and there's one of these out there. It's just a reminder that we are in the general planning process, our Logan Plan 2045.
Yeah.
We encourage you to get involved. There's a link to a website on there. And then I put these on your place as well. These are a project we did at the middle school art club.
Yeah.
And they're kind of cool. You know, it's middle school kids that trying to get them engaged.
want the
and just a little bit of other
butterfly
stuff. So with that,
I want the butterfly.
okay.
Oh, my goodness.
Michael Trump. I like that you
She
talk
took
the
my
other
stuff.
There are
stuff.
multiple designs. There are
Yeah.
lots of.
There's 5 different designs.
Jeepers.
We really need to get
I lost my butterfly already. I can't lose my butterfly already.
degenerating to
Well, now we're passing it back.
Okay, sorry. They are collector's items.
Yeah.
Get off. They're super cute.
and we need to get the kids in here to kind of just say
That'd be
thank
fun.
you for participating and just a little recognition. Just kind of cool.
That would
That
have
would
been
be
awesome.
really fun.
Yeah. With that, let's pledge of allegiance and we'll get started.
Okay.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Mike. Next item on our agenda is the acceptance of the minutes and the approval of tonight's agenda.
Before we move for acceptance and approval, there was one email, and I can send over the details to Teresa, but Hillary, who led our opening ceremony last week, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, no, I did not.
You did not yet. I will forward you the email. She just had a little blip that she wanted in the minutes to kind of expound what was on there, but I don't have an issue with it if we add that. Everyone's okay with that?
Yes, I
Okay.
am as well.
Perfect. I will forward that to you, Teresa, and I will move for acceptance of the agenda and approval of the minutes as modified.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Our 2025 regular meeting schedule is the first and third Tuesdays at 5:30. Our next official meeting is June 3rd, 2025, although we do have meetings every week in May because of budget. So we will be here again next Tuesday. And it is an official meeting, but not a regular meeting of the council. Now we open our mic for questions and comments for the mayor and council on items that are not otherwise on the agenda. Please state your name, where you live, and take 3 minutes or less.
Hi, I'm Matthew Patuasi, live here in Logan. I'm here, so it's a little weird to be here because, I was planning on being here. I have a job up until 2 weeks ago when it wasn't like losing my job over at the Herald Journal where the Herald Journal's owner's customer service department was working there, and they outsourced our department to somewhere else, saying that they'll be able to make productivity gains off of the troubleshooting and customer service. Anytime that you call customer service, there was profit to be made there. So now I'm here today because I'm unemployed because the third-party contractor that I worked for just a bit like a week ago got a call from the city. My boss was urged, threatened, felt there was a connection between my employment and her contracts and her other contracts with the city. So, bold move, I guess. I don't know who it was, but so I'm here as opposed to being on the job. But I'm not here to do anything really but laugh at the tipped hand, since you say that you have nothing but deference towards third parties and third-party contractors, and act as if your hands are tied when it comes to dealing with them and what you can ask of them, but they need you. So when you act like you can't make demands of UAMPS, all to the point where a member of our Renewable Energy and Sustainability Advisory Board resigns their position in protest, I think that's the position he resigned in protest, you say that you don't have the power and leverage over these third-party contracts because they fulfill a need, but let me be a simple nagging reminder of that being a lie. Third-party contractors need you. The bigger they are, the more that they do, and you will eventually have this power once you recognize it. Start telling UAMPS what you demand of them for their continued business, and the same goes for investors that you're trying to attract here. Anyways, yeah, thanks for getting me fired,
Thank you,
whoever it was.
Matthew. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak?
My name is Christy Fatwasi. I'm Matthew's mother. He was not planning on being here this meeting, so I was going to come for him. He lost his job because apparently he has been blacklisted by somebody in Logan City because they called his employers and recommended that he no longer work for them, basically, if they wanted to keep their contracts. Didn't know, don't know who it is again, who did it, but if he's that much of a thorn in your side and you guys want employment for your people, you should be happy that somebody is working. He has been looking for a long time. He's been done the whole thing and got a call like, you're no longer employed because somebody called me from the city, from Logan City. Again, I hope you guys are proud of yourself.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak?
Hi, I'm Gail Hansen. I live in Logan. The thing that has been eating at me is the allure of large employers coming into the valley. I was taken by the account of the XI plant, the artificial intelligence plant in Memphis, and how they learned of this exception for their generators, that if it runs only periodically, it doesn't need to meet air standards. And so they've been running more or less 300 generators, and it's made it so that the people in the community are having issues with their air quality. So that's mostly what I want to put before the council, that we always be aware that we need to provide friction when people want to come and employ our people and use our resources. That we need to make it not easy for them, that friction be there. And then I thought that it also transferred to the advisory boards, that the advisory boards need to provide friction for the city. That's how we really get things done, is when there's friction. The other thing that occurred to me was the Dugway Proving Grounds. The Dugway Proving Grounds are not where you go to see how everything works when everything works. You go there to see how things work when things don't work. And that's an important function for everybody who interacts with anybody, even loving spouses. So that's my soapbox. Thank you.
Thank you, Gail. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak? Seeing no one, we'll move on to our mayor and staff reports. Do you have any?
I do have one thing, it wasn't on the agenda, but I asked Sam Odd to give us an update on the 500 North bike lanes. This is something new for the city. We have done separated bike lines with a curb protecting them and delineators, and again, it will take a little bit of getting used to for folks, but We just wanted to give a brief update and let people know they're open and that bicyclists can use them.
Yeah, as the mayor mentioned, you may have noticed work on 500 North, so it's between 100 East and 700 East. That corridor was chosen just because it's one of our most heavily used bike corridors, and it connects key parts of our community, the transit center, a neighborhood school, a neighborhood park, up to campus. And so over the last year, we've had a group, maybe a steering committee you could call it, of city staff, and Mike from city council has helped us go through an iterative process on what was the right solution for that corridor. And our goal was to be different. We wanted to make a statement, I guess, on what we think bike lanes could be in Logan. And admittedly, it's a little bit of a trial run to see how it works and get feedback from city staff that have to interact with it and community users. But we hope that it can be a step forward to continuing alternative modes of transportation in our community.
And people have asked, they're fairly wide for a bike lane, and one reason for that is so we can plow them. It will mean like a pickup truck with a smaller blade, not as obviously a big snow plow, but we do intend to maintain them during the winters. So again, it's kind of a trial run for us, something new, but we're really excited about trying to make our city more bike friendly. So.
But they're also wide because they're two directions.
Yeah.
Right.
So-
They're 2 lanes, and again, it makes it wide enough to plow with.
And I would just add that we recognize that with change comes inconvenience, and some are going to be impacted more than others, but we hope that the big picture transportation in our community can be looked at, and hopefully it's a benefit.
It'll be nice for students to be able to get their bikes off the bus and ride up the hill,
Agreed.
so,
Or down.
or down.
Yeah, thanks.
Down is more fun. Way more fun.
That is a fun road to ride down. So.
So, we'll have
It's more
to,
fun now.
speed
Way more
limits,
fun.
all those people with their electric bikes. Vroom. So, okay, we're going to move now to council business. Planning Commission update will be very quick. Planning Commission did not happen because there were no projects the last meeting. Our board and committee reports for this evening are Vice Chair Johnson, Council Member Anderson, and Lopez. Ernesto, you want to go first?
Sure. Cash Arts did not meet. We also did not meet with the Youth Council. So I only have on the Library Board and Public Arts, and the Library Board actually met once more.
Yeah, I'll report on that.
Just yesterday. But last month, which is the one that I attended, they reported they got new telescopes added as part of a grant. They also got a Braille display to add.
How many telescopes?
I'm gonna say there were 4.
Oh, fun.
I know, it's like way cool.
That's very
I want to go use them.
I think I might have to go check one out with my son.
Yeah, I think that's awesome.
They're fully staffed. And the bringing back of the available holds program that was taken away or paused, I guess, suspended last, I think it was in the fall, is going well. So they're happy that they're able to do that for those patrons who really love the program in the past, and they're able to bring it back, even if it's in a limited form. Public Arts, there is a new children's area mural that is going to kind of build on the one that was there. And we had a generous donor that donated towards that.
Oh, excellent. So where is that going to be located?
As you walk into the children's area,
Of
on
the
the
library.
east wall, yeah, in the
Of the
library.
library,
So it's
sorry.
in the children's area. There's just big blank white walls over the bookshelves.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we have that wonderful mural and the trees with the leaves coming down at the end, but the entry's a little plain. So the same artist, Tracy O'Leary Covey, has been commissioned to do kind of an additional scene. She's actually going to do it on panels. Since the library's open and it's already running, she won't paint on the walls, but she'll install panels. So,
Oh, wonderful.
yeah. So it'll be a nice addition to the children's area of the library.
Anything else?
That's it.
Okay. Amy, you want to go next?
Sure. So Bear River Local Homeless Council continues to meet monthly, beginning to plan for next year's Code Blue, just because the warming center this year was rapidly reaching occupancy sometimes. So the providers in that area are beginning to think about what's the best way forward for the whole Bear River region. So not just Cache, but also Box Elder and Rich counties as far as helping to support people who are unhoused. Parks and Rec met, just a reminder for people, the summer schedule is out for the Law Plaza. Lots of things happening. Wednesday nights there's concerts. Almost every Friday night there's going to be a concert. So go to the Parks and Rec website and you can pull that schedule up and come and be entertained. The splash pad and the pool open this coming weekend, Memorial Day weekend. So get your kiddos out and enjoy. So they were able this year to hire without much difficulty, so that's great news. This next thing ties into both the parks and to the library. We did have a new code passed this year, Utah Code 80-80, that relates to volunteers having supervision and control of children. So there's been a scramble to get all of our volunteers
They have to have a background check.
Having a background check and then watching a video that just kind of talks and addresses to make sure that we're making sure our kids are safe in our community. So I know Parks and Rec scrambled to get that done. The library also had to pull in anybody who's been working with kids there just to make sure that we're in compliance, and it's probably a wise thing to do. For the library, oh, and just a reminder that the rec center hours do change July 1st. There's posters up in there, and again, information on the website about that. The library will be closed on Monday for Memorial Day. The new librarian director is settling in well. He was happy to report that the punch list for construction is almost done. That's been a long time coming. But just a couple of things. One of the new changes is going to be a change in how places are scheduled. So watch for that. The makerspace for people to go in and to begin to use that hopefully will be up and running July 1st. So for those who aren't aware of what the makerspace has, it's got sewing machines and sergers and 3D printers and all sorts of technology that are open to the public to use. For some of those services there might be a supply charge, but you'll be able to register time for just a specific piece of equipment, or groups can come in and book the space as a whole. So hopefully that will be fully running. They're already holding some things there, but I think this is an amazing addition to our library space. So if you weren't aware that the library does more than check out books, that's one of the cool new things. Monday movie night continues. There's going to be a step family parenting class that begins in June. So again, library website to see all of the new and expanded services that are being provided in that great new space, especially the community space. And then I have Adams and Bridger, neither of those have upcoming meetings. So that's what I got.
Great. Mike?
So RESAB met about 3 weeks ago. They're working on a new energy efficiency program outline that they will continue to work on. I believe it's on the agenda for this week as well. I was trying to find Emily, that's on our agenda this week. So we'll continue to work on that. I'm sure you'll see more info coming from that. The audit committee met for their quarterly meeting. We have a new chair for the audit committee, Chris Fossen, and it was a great meeting with him. And we went over some of the internal audits, such as quarterly financials. Always a very exciting meeting. DPAC met, and I was unable to attend their most recent meeting, but I know it was mostly just planning for Bike Week, which Bike Week was last week. And then they're meeting again tomorrow.
It had to rain 5 days last year.
It's the best
I
weather.
know, it was.
Got 3 days in.
It's May.
I had good intentions, but the rain sort of derailed it.
The last day I did, I regretted. It was so cold.
It was a chilly week.
I was not prepared with enough
I will
clothing
say,
for
you
that
can
day.
still bike on non-bike
I know,
weeks,
give me
though.
the challenge, give me the challenge another
We'll
day.
do it again.
Yeah,
The
we'll do
weather's
it.
going to be better the rest of the week. So
Maybe we'll do a bike to council day one day. And then just some other things I went to the ARF training out at the airport with the fire department, which was super cool.
way cool.
Did you attend as well?
Oh, I did, yeah. That was
Very,
great.
very cool to get out there and see how the fire department trains on, fires at the airport and.
They did a
practices for
night
that.
burn training exercise, if anyone's wondering.
Yeah. I went to their day one. I didn't go to the night one. Did you go to the night one?
No, I did the day one, yeah.
Yeah, I just went to the day one. But they do burn things at the airport at night too, which is cool. So
Old
it was
fuselage.
it was a
Was it
very
an old fuselage?
It is, but it's like purpose built and has like burners in it made from propane, so they can like turn it on and off. So
It's controlled.
yes, controlled. Yeah, but it was super cool to get out there and see what the fire department does and spend a few minutes with them. And that's all I've done in the past month that's worth note. I do want to add at this point, though, there is a Wilson neighborhood meeting tomorrow.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
5:30 at Wilson Elementary.
5:30.
So if anyone would like to come, Wilson neighborhood meeting tomorrow, May 21st, 5:30 at Wilson Elementary. That's a wrap on me.
Excellent, thank you. Our next item of business is we're excited to appoint a new individual to our RESAP board. Peter Howe is here, if you would stand. Do you have any words you'd like to say to us or anything like that?
He has a very impressive resume, so
wanna come up and read
we'll
all?
vouch for that.
Obviously, very impressive.
Happy to be on the board. I've been a Logan resident for 12 years and looking forward to it.
Thank you so much. We appreciate your willingness to serve.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, and Pete attended the board this past month,
Yep.
and I think they're all very excited to have him there.
And I don't believe we have to approve him, do we?
We have to ratify it.
Yeah, ratify. Remember, this is the council board,
Right,
so.
but I was
you
looking to you
decide.
for like, that's the correct, right, is that we have to ratify? Yes.
Okay.
That was more of a, yep, I'll make a motion that we ratify.
I'll second
Peter
the
Howe
motion.
to the Renewable Energy Board.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I didn't know if we had to ratify because it was us.
Yeah,
So that's okay.
maybe I should look at Craig. Yep, we did that right? Ratification is the correct word. Done.
Okay,
Congratulations.
we'll move
Thank
now
you,
to
Peter.
just an announcement.
I look
Thank you,
forward to you
Peter.
being there.
Yeah, we're happy to have you.
Super.
Our final council budget workshop will be held next Tuesday in this very room. If you would like to come, you're more than welcome to. We go over the accomplishments and hoped-for projects for different departments. We had one last week, and we'll finish up with the remainder of the departments this Tuesday. This evening, we have several action items. We will start with a continued action item from May 6th, which is a public hearing, which is the consideration of a proposed resolution adopting the Community Development Block Grant Annual Action Plan for the City of Logan. Amanda, would you like to go over this with us? I know there've been some bumps.
It's been a little bumpy.
Yeah.
Might be bumpier.
Might get bumpier.
Yep.
Just too bad.
Yeah, unfortunately, the block grant is one of those things
It's
that,
on the chopping block.
that's on the chopping block for the federal government, so.
Okay, this is Resolution 2517 for the Community Development Block Grants 2025 Annual Action Plan and funding recommendations. The funding goals are to invest 60% of annual funding towards neighborhood infrastructure, 20% towards community needs, and 20% towards 20% towards community needs and 20% towards CDBG admin costs and planning projects. Admin and planning has a 20% annual cap, and public service has a 15% annual cap. The city has received $558,464 for project year 2025. It is proposed that $330,000 go towards infrastructure projects, $91,000 go towards public facilities, $25,000 go towards public service, and $111,000 go towards CDBG administration. The ADA ramps project will receive $165,000 and be set up as a receiver project to receive any leftover funding from any project up to a total project cost of $200,000. Up to 80 ADA ramps will be installed throughout the city in LMI areas, benefiting approximately 22,000 low to moderate income residents. The red and yellow areas on the map are the low to moderate income areas. And the pedestrian crossings project will receive $165,000 and will also be set up as a receiver project to receive any leftover funding up to a total project cost of $200,000. Up to 11 pedestrian crossing beacons will be installed throughout the city in LMI areas, benefiting approximately 22,000 low to moderate income residents. The Art in the Park Willow Park project will receive $30,000 to install up to 4 public art pieces, benefiting approximately 9,000 residents in the area. And the proposed art pieces in the locations include a sculpture at the Willow Park entrance here, a statue at the entrance to the sports complex, a mural on the back of the stage at the Willow Park Pavilion, and a mural on the softball building at the sports complex.
And again, these are just concepts. These aren't, an approved design. These are just kind of giving you an idea, so.
And how many they do will also depend on the cost of each art piece. Sunshine Terrace will receive $16,000 to purchase 2 new commercial-grade ice machines, which will be permanently installed at their facility, benefiting approximately 62 long-term residents. Common Ground Outdoor Adventures will receive $12,240 to paint the exterior of their building and replace areas of water damage and wood rot, benefiting approximately 182 low to moderate income residents. The Flores Community Garden will receive $33,000 to install electrical infrastructure, to operate water pumps, irrigation systems, lighting, and an educational workshop space, serving approximately 70 low to moderate income Logan families. And the Cache County Senior Center will receive $25,000 to purchase food to provide nutritious meals to approximately 1,500 Logan senior citizens. The William A. Bernard Warming Center requested $15,000 to complete a homelessness services and sheltering feasibility study. The studies have to be funded out of the admin and planning portion of the annual funding, which has a 20% cap, leaving $111,000 available in admin and planning for 2025. The CDBG admin and operational costs are estimated to be $110,000 for 2025, leaving approximately $16,000 available for the study.
1,600.
1,600, sorry.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's a different amount than we thought it was when you did the original workshop. So that's a decision that needs to be made, how we handle that, because that's unfortunate. We thought we had the money to be able to fund most of that study.
That's it. Any questions?
Any questions?
I got a few, but we'll just public comment first. Yeah, we can do public comment first.
This is a public hearing. If any member of the public wishes to come forward and speak on this, please state your name, where you live, and take 3 minutes or less. Seeing no one, I'll bring it back to us.
So we did get, I think Mike's forwarded on to everybody, we did get a comment from Russ Price, who is the treasurer for the William A. Warming Center. So I hope everybody had a chance to read through that.
I read that.
Mm-hmm.
You had questions, Mike?
Yeah, so on that warming center study, what did we originally discuss that we were looking to, remember that number?
15,000.
Well, they requested 15,
Right.
and then during the meeting, I think we discussed, it was a little less than that. I thought it was 10 to,
I think it was
10 to
10,
something,
yeah.
wasn't it?
Yep.
Does anyone remember that? But then it was 15, is that what we agreed on? What did they originally request?
15.
Oh, okay, so we agreed for the whole thing. Okay, I thought, must remember wrong.
That's when I was estimating 95,000 for admin and
Gotcha.
CDBG operation.
But we're expecting there's only going to be 1,600.
Right.
left in that
Yeah.
budget. I'm assuming we need to make a decision on how that happens tonight, or is that?
We can either accept it as presented, change it, or not accept it at all.
I mean, you could also allocate a little bit more towards the study, and community development would have to make up that amount.
They'd have to find it somewhere in their bountiful budget,
Yeah, the thing,
Yeah.
exactly.
the big,
So.
one big beautiful budget.
And as we discussed.
Sorry, I shouldn't even go there.
It's a bad choice.
As we discussed, because of how the rules of CDBG funding are, it's not as if we could take funds from one of those other projects
Right.
and move it to the
It
study.
has to be in
planned.
administration, yeah, which is the
Which has that
problem.
20% cap.
And the unfortunate part about that is we can't take any of the admin
And
identified costs and use other money for that either.
really our only options are to either have community development find the money elsewhere, approve it as is,
Or poor Amanda doesn't
Or-
get to work.
or
I mean, you could take a smaller amount, like 5,000, and
Sure.
add it to that.
Right.
Which, at least gives them a little bit of matching
Right.
funds from the city to try and get other matching.
You have to be super careful.
right.
There's
I know.
Go ahead and finish.
wage and benefits are under 5,000.
What did you say?
Wages and benefits are
All
105.
of the admin operational costs are under 5,000.
Oh, I know.
So,
That extra 6 is,
Supplies.
yeah, so the amount I put in there, I basically took what we have spent per year on average on all the other things, whether it's paper, pencils, and
Yeah.
computers. About $5,000 a year that we spend on other stuff. So what you could do is you could fund the study out of some other budget, not mine, and not CDBG,
Yeah.
fund it out of Rich's budget, that's fine.
Rich doesn't have a budget.
Yeah.
Or when we approve our budget, we could move money from somebody else's budget into yours to cover the missing
Right,
edge too.
if that's what you prioritize as a council, that's fine. This just has some limitations on what you can spend it on, how you can spend it.
Right.
And instead of just giving a little bit, we really think hard about what is it we want to accomplish. Because we don't have a ton of money in this grant to pay for part-time to administer the grant. At some point, we're going to just get to this equilibrium where we can't do it anymore. So if it's an important study to fund for that, then let's figure out a different way to do it.
So this presumes we're going to get all the money.
I'd say that was my next question. It's not been awarded yet.
This is the award letter was the amount that Amanda showed, it was $585,464.
Okay.
So unless money gets clawed back,
But it
who
has been
knows?
awarded.
It's been awarded until we actually get a check in hand. Who
Sure.
knows, Right? But this is the assumption that we're working under, and we haven't heard anything different.
Okay. Is there a precedent on this of like,
We've never.
We've never had this situation
Yeah.
that I can think of.
Yeah.
We've actually never funded anything outside of community development out of this planning budget since I've been on council. I don't know if there's a
Or
history
me,
of.
or me.
Yeah, it's just the first time a request has been made from an
don't like setting
organization in our
precedents.
community to assist with planning dollars, so.
We've used this to pay for the art plan. We funded that out of this. We've done other things. What we've learned in the past, though, is we can't hold money this year and save it for next year. You have to spend it within this year under that
Under that
admin cap.
category.
We got in trouble for doing that before about, well, let's just save dollars and then we have enough, we'll do a plan. Well, that's not allowable under this
So
sorts of funding.
is there a way that, I mean, this goes back to our conversation and what they asked for and all of that. But is there a way for us to give it out of a different piece of the pie and call it something else?
This pie,
Out of
Yeah,
this.
not
Out
out
of
of
the
the, not out of the
CDBG,
CDBG pie.
it has
not
to,
out of this pie.
Because they asked for planning.
right. And
But
it's
if they had
a
asked for
study, so
something
it's-
else,
It's
Well, and I
very
think-
well defined that
Yeah.
Yeah, and
studies
so it
are.
has to come out of planning.
In the future, would there be a proposal from the LHC or from the Warming Center for land purchase or
infrastructure
construction or infrastructure that they could apply for funding from the main part of what, the 20% that we provide for community services, and that could be awarded under CDBG, correct?
Yep.
It's just the planning piece has to be out of this pot.
I know, that's why I was trying to say, was there a way for us to fund something else? And then
Oh,
they'd
that
have
they
the
have in
15
place?
Then they'd have the 15 for their plan.
Gotcha. Give them
Gotcha.
funding for something else they want.
Yeah,
Since they don't have a physical
Yeah.
space right now.
Well, and the applications are closed.
and the
It has to.
applications are closed. I know,
Okay.
I know.
Well,
All
I
that-
was
all that
half
stuff-
verifying with Mike that like,
All that
you can't
stuff, I was like,
shuffle at this point.
And you can't fund something that's not generally prepared and planned for. So
right.
they've got to have something in place that sets the table so that we can fund a request. Right.
Well, and so you can follow up and make sure it's done, too. So, yeah, I understand.
Was that $15,000 request, was that the total amount for the study? Was that a partial amount, do we remember?
I think it was a partial.
Partial.
It's
30?
partial.
The total 30,000?
The total would have been 7,000, so 15, your 15 was matched. The state's 15, which we also.
You also did.
So.
Wow.
So I would, if people may or may not, I'm a member of the board, so I'm feeling a little conflicted in terms of what my ability to make recommendations is, because I'm a volunteer member of their board, but I am a member of the Warming Center board, so.
So you disclosed it,
Yeah.
publicly you can still contact them.
So my question, based on what Russ just said, what is the possibility of the feasibility study going forward?
Without
all.
the state 15%?
Without the state
Without-
money?
I think the Warming Center has been actively trying to find funding for this study for a while and would continue to do so. So obviously could not apply for the funds until they were actually expended in funding of a plan, so.
Because if they try, if we award it and they try and it fails, then it would just go back to the
Goes
pot.
back to the receiver project.
Receiver project. No, it would go back to planning.
That would go back to receiver project,
Oh,
stay in
that's
the
right.
admin.
It would have to stay in there.
Yeah.
You're right, sorry, my mistake.
So you're on the board, is this a like next year thing? Or does it,
Again, I think the Warming Center is doing, the board is doing its best to try to figure out how to make a feasibility study happen for not only the Warming Center, but for the community at large. They're only a piece of the puzzle as when it comes to helping to fund services and figure out the best
Again,
methodologies to help folks, so.
And it's the council's decision, but I guess my advice would be to maybe take 5,000, which would still leave enough for the basic salary costs and admin, add it to the 1,600, just to show as they're continuing to apply for grants that at least they do have some support from the city. And then again, if it doesn't happen, it comes back to.
That's, I would make that
Admin.
recommendation that we change that number to 6,616.
and I like the idea. I do worry about setting a precedent of, we're now pulling money
Right.
from other places to make CBD work 6 years down the road. You know, what is council? I don't know.
Yeah.
I do have the worry about the precedent. I want to fund the full study.
If we
but-
award the money though, and they can't do the study, then it comes right back.
Sure,
So-
but it's still a precedent set.
An amendment?
We
An amendment?
awarded more in the committee meeting.
Right.
But we just can't do it, so I say we give them as much as we can
I'll second
and
Mark's.
see what happens, yeah.
I'll
So
second Mark's
it's-
amendment.
Thank you.
The amendment has been presented and seconded. Is there any conversation regarding that?
Understand your concern, Mike.
And I understand your motion because
I want to give them more, but it's
I want to give
like
them the
that's
full
as much as we
15,
can
but
do,
it is
so.
G, you state the amendment again, just so we have it.
Oh, sure. The amendment was to add $5,000 to the available amount for the study, making it a total of $6,016.
$6,616.
$6,616, sorry.
You're right.
Did that, not enough sixes in my mind.
Can you hold 1 second
Sure.
Yes, sir.
before you make a huge?
Mistake?
A huge decision.
Yeah.
I mean, ComDev would basically have to reallocate 5,000
If
of
it were 5 million, that would be a
existing
huge decision,
funds
but
to this project,
Or we would take
5,000.
it from somewhere else.
As I say,
which
Rich,
is,
I want to make sure, I mean, it complicates it.
I know it complicates. it would have to come from ComDev, or do we have to choose where that's allocated from? Or do we just tell Mike he has to?
If they're short, it will come from the ComEd budget.
Well, they will be short.
I just mean,
I think we can.
If it's awarded and everything goes through, they'll be
what
short.
you would do is shave it all the way down to the absolute minimum, or really close, or maybe a little too far. Anything else would have to come out of the community development budget to administer CDBG.
Yeah, and I think we can eat $5,000 in there somewhere to pay for all the support stuff.
To make it happen.
It's just the salary benefits package. We want to make sure that that's
Make sure that's
intact.
covered. Yeah.
And we'll write the agreement with them not to exceed an upper amount, and I think we'll be okay. So,
The agreement with the warming
pardon me?
center? You'll write the agreement with the warming center or the agreement with?
Yeah, when we do the agreements with our recipients, we'll specify the amounts. But if this amount is guaranteed, or certain, if the amount comes back that it's less, then the agreements are going to be written such that if we receive less funding, then it'll be
They're going to get
proportional
less.
to
Yeah.
the award.
They're going to get less. Okay.
Thank you for your willingness to support that.
That's what I thought you
It's a
said
good-
we
It's a good thing.
It's a good thing, it's just,
It's,
where's the money?
and it's not going to get better, I don't think,
No.
in the years to come. Your big, giant, beautiful
We
budget.
might be dealing with that much next year, so.
Correct.
Before we vote, can I ask one more question, just for clarity?
That's what we're doing right now.
No
I know.
questions.
I'm just asking questions. It's welcome to life. It's awarded, just to clarify, if it's not actually funded, the grant is not funded, the agreements are all written, that essentially
Right.
But
it all dissolves.
how long
essentially.
does it last?
Well, so we've been given an award letter,
Right.
but as we've seen in other grants the city's had with the federal government,
It's happened.
they've been pulled back, but then we've had some re-awarded or re-engaged. So I would assume that the amount that we've been told that we're going to get is safe. But again,
But it might not be.
right. And we'll just write the agreements in a way that says whatever the percentage difference is, the agreement will change to reflect that.
Okay.
And occasionally we get more. Occasionally we get notified that, oh, by the way, we've had this additional funding that'll go towards you, this amount. Well, if that's the case, then obviously this amount can go up a little bit based on the proportionality.
Do we have to write that into our thing today?
No,
that
not
for this specific,
No.
since we're, okay.
No.
So, and if this funding is not, for some reason, used this year, does it then fall back to community development?
No, it stays in the CDBG pot, but
Right.
we can't spend more than 20% annually on admin and planning.
Not even if you
But it
spend,
has to be spent in this calendar year, I thought, with planning.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
it does.
so it would have, the funding for this will have to be expended by the warming center in this CDBG grant year.
Or by community development. in the
Correct, or it
planning
would
area.
revert, unlike other projects that we
Right, the other ones we can
can
push now. This you can't.
This one would not be able to be,
okay.
so.
I can live with that.
Are there any other questions? Are you ready to vote? There's been an amended motion on the table that has been seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you.
Thanks for your help too, Mike.
Our next public hearing is a rezone. Russ, we're going to let you just talk about it for a second.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is an application from Hatch Valley Transit District, and it's concerning a 4.5 acre property, located at 754 West, 600 North. It's currently developed with 3 structures. There's an office building, a shop, and then a large canopy. There's a couple of parking areas and some landscaping and fencing. The current zone is public, and they are requesting commercial service, which is a zone that is similar to industrial park, but a little bit more commercial oriented. If you look at the bigger regional picture, 600 North kind of acts as a boundary between commercial service to the south, which is that kind of salmon color, and industrial park to the north, which is the purple color. Here's a close-up of the property. There's 3 access points, 2 off 600 North, 1 off 800 West. Here's the office building on the north side. There's the canopy and the shops. kind of on the south side. The applicant called me last week. I thought he was going to be here tonight, but I don't see him in the crowd. They have reached out to several government agencies, including the city of Logan, for any interest in purchasing this property. They have not received any interest. And so really that's the reason they're applying for the rezone, is they feel like it's going to be more marketable to rezone it as CS, so that a potential buyer, which is likely going to be a private entity, will have that rezone in place. So last time we talked a little bit about use differences, so I wanted to kind of cherry pick the use chart just so you kind of understand the differences between CS and IP. Those are the two far right columns, or second to the right columns. I thought these might be likely potential buyers, so office, laboratory, automobile sales, automobile repair, automobile service, of course, car wash, fitness center, garden shops, gas stations, convenience stores, heavy truck, equipment rental sales and service, contractor supply, contractor outdoor storage, lumber yard, heavy manufacturing, light manufacturing, and then warehouse and wholesale. So there's really only three differences there, and it's conditional use permits, which actually mean they're still permitted, but there's just one more layer of review. So they're actually pretty similar as far as business use is allowed in those zones. Planning Commission recommended approval of this rezone, and I'm happy to answer any questions at this point.
Are there any questions of Russ?
No, ma'am.
Nope, that was pretty clear.
Thank you, Russ.
This is a public hearing. If there are any members of the public who wish to speak to this, please come to the microphone, state your name, and take 3 minutes or less.
Again, my name is Christy Fatwasi, and I live in Logan. I was just wondering, I just saw this, and I don't particularly have anything against the rezoning of it. I'm just wondering why they said they approached city entities, why this wasn't considered for a replacement rec center location where it's already got buildings. Obviously, it didn't just move overnight, so this has been in the works for a while, and supposedly there was no place for the rec center, from what I understood. But this has got buildings and parking and landscaping and fencing, and I'm just wondering why that wasn't on the docket as a replacement rec center.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Matthew Patwasi, live here in Logan. So I do feel like this is another one of those instances of just like you guys missed an opportunity here, since the family city Logan also was offered what they could think to do with this. We have all the stuff that's supposed to be here up in North Logan, I guess, according to the new facility in North Logan City, as Russ Hawley stated during the planning commission. So I'm assuming that the new place that they're located at has room for growth and everything like that, unless we're not thinking of increasing our CVTV program, which is a big benefit for everybody inside the valley and could only do with more growth, especially as we're seeing more congestion on the roads. This was an easy opportunity to transform it into the similar element of being in the CVTV chain, but more functioning as maybe a new transit hub or something like that to better serve West Side, as opposed to forcing them to come all the way to East Side, Center Street, Main Street crossing, through the main thoroughfares. Yeah, just missed opportunities here, which is evident again by the fact that we're just going to be selling it off to the most profitable, when the most profitable way of dealing with this land is to fill up the function that it already serves and advance it. Thank you for your time.
Just to clarify, the city doesn't own this. It's the transit district that is selling it because they've moved to their new location. So,
Who is a separate entity from the city?
They're not
What
completely
do
separate.
we do as far as the civic transit center?
Pardon me?
Connect handles all that as the transit district.
It's not a city thing?
No.
It is not owned by the city or run by the city.
And it runs free?
Yep.
Yeah, it's free, but it's run by
Cash by transit district.
It's paid
There's a
for by your
portion of the
taxes.
sales tax that goes to transit. It is passed through the city, but we receive it and pass it all on to the transit district, and they decide how to spend it.
Okay, good to know. Thanks for the clarity on that.
Yeah.
I still think it's silly to get rid of it for public stuff as opposed to,
Well, I think that
I
they
say it's
had
not our
to,
decision.
it's their property, but I sat on the transit
the
district board.
rezoning changes it from
Well-
public intent as opposed to commercial.
So the transit district, in order to pay for their new building, they need to sell this piece of property to help pay for the new building.
Okay,
So,
all right.
And as the landowner, they're the ones that requested the rezone,
correct.
so. Yeah, I mean, I'm all for a rec center, but I don't know if this is,
It's not the right building for that.
we can put some weights underneath the awnings out there.
Yeah, there you go. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak to this? If not, I'll bring it back to the council for a decision.
I'll move approval of ordinance 25-08.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll move now to the second public hearing that Russ will be giving for us on the Wilson Neighborhood Plan.
Thank you. So this is a resolution for a neighborhood plan that will help to shape future codes and ordinances. But by nature, this is a visionary plan, so it's not binding. The plan's taken about 2 years. It's been a lot of fun. We've learned a lot about Wilson, and it's a really cool neighborhood. We've got a lot of diversity and a lot of strengths. Great parks, rec facilities, trails, some of the best trails in the city, in my opinion. It's got great little corner markets. Herm's Inn is located in there, some great history, and some development potential. So this is the newer areas along the edge of downtown, which this plan identifies as good areas to continue to develop. So it was called the Island because the rivers historically split. You had the north branch of the Logan and then the main branch of the Logan, and that name has stuck over the years. Again, great history. It's about 15% of our total population. And it became very clear that folks in the neighborhood identify with the sub names of Cliffside, the Island, Sumac, which is interesting because Cliffside is based on a road that is a small section of road, but that name stuck over the years. Mountain Road and Gibbons and East Ridge are much longer corridor roads and serve many more properties, but yet Cliffside stuck because it's a cool name. I guess, I assume.
That's where the development started, was on Cliffside Drive, so.
And kind of started there, so. It's got a diversity of structure age. Obviously, as you move up the hillside, the homes and structures are newer in age, and then as you get closer to the core and downtown, they're older in age. So the yellow and orange are the oldest, and the purple and blues are the newest. Zoning is predominantly single family, either NR4 or NR6. There's a little bit of commercial along the downtown Main Street corridor. And then this area has a lot of recreation and public space that's owned either by the city of Logan or UDOT. UDOT owns a lot of that land just south of Highway 89. And those areas are planned to remain open. There are some growth potential. So south of Cliffside, there's quite a bit of vacant area, but also infill was identified as a good place, and then redevelopment along Main Street. This shows some of the infill properties that could be developed. So the center of those blocks, we have large blocks in the core area. owner occupancy, so there's much higher rates of owner occupancy in the Cliffside area versus the island area. Some of that corresponds with structure age too. That's kind of a theme throughout the city. If you've got neighborhoods with newer homes, they're typically higher owner occupancy. There's quite a few missing sidewalks, so we try to get those installed. Surveys went out. A lot of the folks are pretty happy with the services and the city departments. Some of their main concerns are housing affordability and transportation. How do we balance, the mobility of cars with the need for safety and walkability? Those are some of the things. I know there's a couple typos. I'm planning on fixing those if this is adopted before it's published. Basically, we came up with 28 recommendations that we think will help strengthen the neighborhood and improve the quality of life for folks. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions or go into further detail if you would like.
Can you go back to the zoning map? I was just struck by why the zoning is public for those parks as opposed to recreation. Is that just, that seems like a very odd anomaly in this neighborhood.
That is one of the recommendations.
Okay, is to change it to.
Yeah, if it's open space or rec space, it should be zoned rec.
Not public.
And public really should be schools or
Government
libraries, government types of facilities. So this one should remain public because that's Adams Elementary, and then this parcel
No, it's
here.
not, it's Wilson.
Sorry. Wrong neighborhood. Wrong neighborhood. I was Wilson. But yeah, these up here should go to rec zoning, and that's a recommendation that we made.
Okay, and if this is passed, how soon would you anticipate that zoning change would be requested, or would that just be roll into the general plan that we're working on now?
Yeah, I would think this would be rolled into the general plan. It might first show up in the new future land use map and then the new official zoning
Okay,
map.
because the land use map has it as RAC. The current.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
The other the other three neighborhood plans that we've completed, we're referencing those as we go through this general
Okay.
plan and zoning map, and this one would also be referenced.
No, that just seems like, then you could put the building there in the middle of Gibbons Park if it's zoned public as opposed to being some recreation. So I think that would be an important change to make.
Yeah. Any other questions? This is a public hearing. If you have any comments or questions or concerns regarding the Wilson Neighborhood Plan, please come to the podium, state your name, where you live, and take 3 minutes or less. Seeing no one, I'll bring it back to the council for a decision.
So I did ask this during the workshop, but there's been ample opportunity, time, multiple meetings by all the community members there to give their input. And so I don't want people to think no one showed up because they don't, but I think it's just been worked.
Yeah.
So,
We do have another Wilson meeting tomorrow night, but it was extensively presented by Russ at the previous meeting, 6 weeks ago?
Yes,
Okay.
and several times before that as
Yeah.
well.
Right.
There's been a lot of back and forth. They've seen numerous drafts. The steering committee has seen numerous drafts. So yeah, there has been a lot of feedback and back and forth to get to this point.
So not wanting to overstep the Wilson neighborhood and all the work, I would move approval of resolution 25-19.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Great work, Russ.
Thank you.
Our next,
That's a lot of work.
It was fun.
now we're gonna go from planning for the future to fireworks.
Kept burning it down.
To burn it down.
You know how I went out to ARC training? I was down in Salt Lake for work Wednesday. Drove by some one of those places that sells eclectic used vehicles, and they had one of the ARC trucks out there for sale.
Yeah.
Giant.
Very cool.
I wanted to go, talk to a loan officer, but I'm sure my wife would not be happy if I showed up in that thing. It's like the size of my house.
Showed up with an old truck, an old
It was an old one, but I'm sure it was. Can you imagine if I came to council in
For the
a?
record, council, we just don't go burn things.
Well, no, I'd have
It's a
a
problem, like it's made to burn, but, you know,
Oh, yeah.
hopefully it was a good experience.
No, it was wonderful. Yeah,
Yeah, our firefighting is pretty unique.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the training team that came out and trained your guys, they were fantastic and walking me through their equipment and how it worked. And
Yeah.
they seemed great too.
and they had the right foam,
They did.
because they got the wrong foam first.
They didn't use any foamers out there, just from the environmental aspects of it, but they just practiced with water when I was there.
Yeah, and we actually, we actually can train, there is a new approved foam that's safe
is it?
to train with, and we actually received some of that, because you really have to be able to practice with them,
sure.
with the agent to be good with using it. But there is some good safe stuff now that we were able to get our hands on.
No, it was wonderful to spend that time with them.
Good. Well,
Good
thanks
guys.
for making it. So real quick, just to recap, this is the approved firework restriction area for Logan City. And I'm happy to go through those boundaries. They reflect the same boundaries as last year. That worked out well in coordination with, I did want to remind, this is our combined coverage area for everyone just to review, that includes North Logan and Providence as well. So you can see those boundaries line up nicely for our units that are patrolling. It's worked well here again, like for the last couple of years. So Providence being the most unique, it's kind of like the little modified donut there. A unique thing that was in the legislature this year, just so it's on everyone's minds, there was a proposal for closing areas that are actually, so if it included an area that was selling fireworks, you can't discharge in that area. So that, I don't think that really affects anywhere in Logan particularly, but in Providence it does. But that is something that I could foresee popping back up on the legislation, possibly the special session. I know it was kind of a hot topic. They wanted to close areas. It didn't make sense if an area was closed and they were selling in that area, that you could shoot them off. So we're hoping to, we'll just see where that goes. Doesn't really affect Logan a whole lot.
So River Heights has no restrictions?
River Heights has no restrictions, correct.
Wow.
I know.
And there's wind.
And they don't have any, like what we would call interface area. They're kind of enclosed in. Logan kind of wraps up around the top, and then Providence wraps in the other direction. So to this point, they haven't had any.
Okay.
And then just to recap a couple of dates, restrictions will run June 24th through July 25th. There was a terminology change we reviewed. They used to be what we would call like the class like C firework. It's now referred to as Division 1-4G. Same thing. Same types of fireworks are to be sold this year as they were last. The Utah Fire Marshal helps direct areas that could possibly still be closed. It's super hard to tell this early in the year, particularly after a wet, cool period we've just had. But as we know, that can change quickly. We're usually pretty good the 1st of July here in Cache Valley, but we've seen things change pretty dramatically later on in July. So discharge will be allowed 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. July 2nd through the 5th. And July 22nd through the 25th, with hours extended to midnight on the 24th. Signs will be placed in all the areas that are to be closed, so on the west side and the east side of Logan. So, but I think, other than review of the maps, if there's any questions or things to clarify.
Any questions of the chief? Nope. This is
I
a
know you're
public.
sad, Mike.
I'll keep my snarky comments up.
This is a public hearing. If you have if you would like to say anything about this, please come to the podium, state your name, where you live, and spend 30 minutes or less.
30?
3. I said 3.
1, 2, 3.
Seeing no one, I'll bring it back to the council.
I'll move approval of resolution 25-20.
20-20.
25-20.
Second.
20-20?
25-20.
It's been moved and seconded to to approve Resolution 25-20.
Okay.
Just have one question. I know we are doing Spanish language as well for the signage. Do you know if any of the other cities also do that, surrounding cities?
I don't, Councilman. I haven't noticed if they do, but we'll be using the same signs in all of our entire districts. So at least we'll see the same signage, North Logan, and Providence. But I haven't heard what Cache County Fire might be doing or other departments around it.
Thank you.
Any further questions? It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Our last public hearing for this evening is a budget adjustment.
Budget reduction.
Oh, it's an adjustment.
It is.
You're taking money away?
So request to reduce the budget by $37,217. This was for the North Logan contract. They're going to cover some invoices directly rather than pay us, and then we'd cover those invoices. And then the last one is a request to appropriate $12,000 that were generously donated toward the library art mural.
Very nice.
This is what we discussed earlier.
Yes?
Yeah.
Any questions? This is a public hearing. Any member of the public who wishes to comment on this, please come to the podium, state your name, where you live, and take 3 minutes or less. Seeing no one, bring it back to the council.
I'll move approval of resolution 25-21.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We have one workshop item this evening, which you are on again.
3 items to consider. One will be corrected, but it's a small correction. The first is a request to appropriate $4,975 that the police department was awarded as a grant for police equipment by the state of Utah. Request to appropriate $8,946 for police overtime shifts. One of those reimbursements that we do fairly regularly. And the last item is to appropriate $250,000, not $25,000.
Oh, that's a big change.
It's a small change. It's 1 0.
I'm going to tell my wife that next time I buy something.
It's $250,000. It's in 2 separate accounts, one for $25,000, one for $225,000. And this is for revenues that we've collected toward work in the right-of-way expenses for telecom. And we have associated expenses. We have to do inspections. And so we don't put this in the budget because we don't know how much is going to be given to us or how much work we're going to have to do on some of these specific projects. And so we're requesting to appropriate what has been collected because the work is going to be inspected as we go from now on. So this will be requested to be carried over at the end of this fiscal year because we anticipate the work will continue next year as well as next.
Any questions?
A very small 0. We'll add that to the next year.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, please.
Are there any other considerations this evening?
I have 2. One, I forgot during my report just to thank. So the Youth Council did do some tabling for our general plan at the high school, which I thought was pretty great. At least they said they were. I'm hoping that they did, but they were planning. So they had a table with the card for students. Ernesto's done a great job of bringing that together, but when we met with them last month, we talked about that and just the fact that if this is a 20, 30-year plan, our 16, 17, and 18-year-olds are the people who are going to be living within those confines of the general plan. So that was pretty exciting that our youth offered to do that. I'll be hopeful that they had students that agreed to do it. So anyway, just wanted to give a shout out to our youth council for doing that. And then the other thing was there's going to be a groundbreaking ceremony on May 29th at 11 at 6,100 West. This is kind of those 2 orphan parcels when 1,000 West went through that the city partnered with Visionary Homes to put in workforce housing. So exciting that we've got that opportunity to provide some more moderate income housing for our community. So the city I'm assuming everybody's welcome to that, but it will be on the 29th.
They're going to have food
at
trucks
11.
and music, and there is an RSVP link if you're going to come.
Yep, so contact me if you're interested, but there'll be eight properties, and those are being sold. They are not rental properties.
But again, they're income qualified, and again, it meets some of the goals of our moderate income housing plan.
So Amy, just a clarification, it's 100 West.
What did I say?
1,000.
Yes, 100 West, 1,000.
There
There are orphan properties along 1,000 West too, but it's just a parking strip. It's just a strip. It's not wide enough to build on.
So just a clarification. Any other considerations?
If you want to go, let me know. I'll make sure that our visionary knows you're planning on coming.
And just to add to what Amy was saying about the youth council, I want to thank our teacher volunteer, Ryan Nelson, who helped throughout the school year, and it's looking likely that he may be helping this coming year as well. Wonderful.
And congratulations to Ernesto's son for being named one of the, is it a salutatorian for Logan High? So,
I'll pass on the congratulations.
Wow.
Very cool. To get his own little poster on Main Street. Sweet.
I love that our city does that.
I think it's
that is
awesome.
so awesome.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Anything else?
Jean's got her hand on the gavel.
We are done.
That was gentle.
Nice.
Yeah, very gentle.
We're working on making it nicer.
Very gentle this time.
You're going to have to work hard.